Welcome to the LA Home Show. I am Natasha Phillips, your host, and today we have with us architect Anthony Poon, who is so passionate about creativity. Can't wait to hear this. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you, and how are you?
Good. So, Anthony, I'd love to hear how you got into the industry.
Well, it's actually an interesting story. I did not pursue being an architect. My passion was to be a concert pianist, and I trained classically, and I did go to school for architecture, and there was a point in my life, I was in New York, I was in my studio in Chelsea, and I had to choose one or the other. I had to choose between going to Juilliard for music or Harvard Graduate School of Design. And I thought I should pursue music because that's what my passion is, but I realized as you think about it, there are only a few classical pianists in the world that you can think of. And I realized in every city there are hundreds of talented architects, and I figured the odds would be better for me to succeed as an architect. I chose architecture because I could be an architect and still play piano every day. I couldn't do the other. I couldn't be a concert pianist and also open up an architecture company. So that's how I ended up being an architect.
That's amazing, and we do see that you were featured in the most recent edition of LA Home magazine.
Yes.
So yeah, well, you know, reading about you, I get to see that your architecture is actually music.
Correct.
So tell me how you keep your passion alive.
I keep my passion with music alive by putting it into my work of architecture. I like to think of architecture not just as a finished product, not just as a beautiful picture of a house or a school or a museum, but I like to think of it as a process. And I think of the way we work in our office as a kind of jazz band, and improvisation is a big part of our design process. I take ideas like that, working with a team, organizing it like an orchestra, working with people, spontaneously creating ideas, using a lot of musical ideas into our architectural process.
That's amazing. I mean, your buildings do seem to sing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
That's wonderful. So tell me, like, what is the process for you? So a client comes to you, and walk me through it.
A client comes, they often have some ideas of what they want. Our approach is not to infuse the project with our ideas, but to help a client understand what their vision is. We give it shape, we give it form. We start our process just by getting to know who the client is. If it's a house, we find out, do they have a dog? Will they have kids? Does the mother-in-law live with the house? If it's a restaurant, we find out, is it sushi? Is it salads? How many people? Is it fine dining or casual? We take a lot of time to understand who our clients are. Then we get into the philosophical aspect, what their dreams are, what their ambitions are. If it's a school, is it a school of the performing arts? Is it a school for the blind? Is it for underprivileged kids? We start getting into educational methodologies. We get into business models. We get into what a retail company's brand might be. We put that all together, and we start playing with those ideas and giving it form and shape. The next step is drawing it all up and getting it permitted and getting it built.
It's exciting. So Anthony, I'm sure over your long career you have had some very amusing and entertaining clients. To share one or two of them with us.
One of our, I wouldn't say amusing, but one of our most rewarding clients is that we work for a nonprofit agency. It's a Buddhist Retreat Foundation Center in Virginia. They have 400 acres. We've been privileged to work directly with the teachers, the monks, and the lamas to plan their campus. We've completed a meditation retreat center. We completed 2 temples. We are about to start construction on a dining hall, and we have in the plans visitor center, administration building, more cabins and dormitories. So it's really the opportunity to spend time to get to know a client and build out an entire campus for the Buddhist teachings.
Wow, that's impressive. So Anthony, also tell us how has technology changed the industry, and how do you use it?
That's a good question. It's definitely changed it. It's made it better, and it's made it more challenging. Obviously, digital technology has given us tools to explore ideas fast, to represent ideas to a client very quickly through computer modeling, 3D modeling, renderings, and it's helped us with the quality of our work versus in my earlier years hand drafting and doing things very meticulously but very tediously slow. The drawbacks, I think, are it's taken away some of the artistic soul of the process. You don't find too many architects that draw and paint and sculpt and create. Architecture is still a form of art. And computers do, and there are those that are skilled enough to use it as an artistic tool, but we find that less and less these days. The last aspect of it that maybe is a negative is that it makes the client think that we should design faster and produce some more work faster, cheaper, more efficiently. And that's not really the case. The process is still the process. But I think technology as a tool and not as the silver bullet is the right way to view it in our industry.
And Anthony, tell us, what has been your most unexpected project?
The unexpected project is a lot of work that we're doing in Palm Springs. We typically do many custom homes, high-end custom homes throughout Los Angeles. We had a developer come to us. His name is Andrew Adler, and he wanted to collaborate on some new ideas. It was to bring the luxury homes and the modern homes to the tract housing industry, meaning building beautiful homes at about 1/4 the cost and building them on a mass production level. So it was quite a challenge for us. You think of tract housing and you think of what I call the kind of Taco Bell homes, fake roofs, small windows, thick walls, very cheap materials. You think of that industry and you think, how can we insert quality modern architecture into that industry? We spent a year researching, experimenting, trying new construction methods, and we've been successful. We've now built out 4 communities in Palm Springs, about 210 homes, all built, all sold, and we're continuing this expansion. And we're proud to say we believe that we have reinvented the tract housing industry. We've relaunched the ideas, and we found a whole new demographic, and it's proven by all the sales and all the national awards that we've been honored to have.
Congratulations, that's really very, very impressive. So you also have a book
I do.
that you've just written. I'd love to hear more about that.
The inspiration of that just came from me and others in my office telling family and friends the kind of stories that happen with clients, the problems with the city, construction, some of the antics that goes on. It's a blend of the creative process and the business. And someone said, you know, you should write a blog, or you should consider having a reality show or something like that, of which we didn't think a reality show was really our bag. A blog is something I already have. So I thought I should just start putting a book together. My inspiration was Anthony Bourdain's world. There's already such a fascination with design. It's everywhere. To Martha Stewart, everyone in the world is thinking design. And there did not seem to be any book that I could find for the general audience about the world of design. There are plenty of books about architects, historical ones and current ones. There are plenty theoretical written by architects, but I didn't seem to find any that was written for a general audience in the same way that Bourdain did to tell the ups and downs of the architecture world. So on a plane coming back from Saudi Arabia, I took out my laptop and just started writing. A few months later, I had a book. I got very passionate about it. Glass, One Architect's Journey. And it's a personal story, part behind the scenes, part rants and raves, part critical essays. And I think it's a both fun and insightful and inspiring book for those who want to find out more about the world of design and architecture.
It sounds like a must read.
Yes, I hope so.
And so tell me, do you have any tips and tricks for people out there?
In terms of design and...
In terms of someone who wants to build a home, where do they find you? What do you recommend? How do you recommend they begin the process?
Well, I would suggest any new client should interview many architects. You can always come to us, of course. We'd be happy to be your architect, but we think the client-architect relationship is a very personal one. You have to find someone that you click with. It's not just about who has the most number of awards and who can build on schedule, on budget. Those are things that a good professional should provide. It's really about finding someone that you feel that you're in sync with, that you can spend a lot of time with. A house can take a year, it can take 2 years, it can take 5 years. It's someone that you really want to work with, collaborating, emailing, talking about dreams of an ideal house. So you need to interview, you need to tour homes, you need to find that right fit. And I would suggest really start there when you're looking for an interview. Don't just get sold on seeing a beautiful house and saying, I want to hire that company. Really look at the connection between the client and the architect's team.
And I know some projects have taken you a fair amount of time. What's been the longest project you've worked on?
We are working on a house, and it's odd to say it's a house. It's actually a large estate. We are in our 14th year. This is a estate just outside of Beverly Hills. It's about 5 acres. The house totals about 35,000 square feet. It's 10 buildings. It's one property for a couple. And we've been working on it continuously all these years, and right now working on yet another phase of renovating the pool house and a guest house and doing yet another addition to the main house. So it's quite an amazing mansion, quite an amazing estate in the legacy of some of LA's great mansions like Greystone.
It's a wonderful thing to be a part of, you becoming
Yes.
part of the family with them.
Exactly. We think back to when we started 14, 15 years ago, how young everyone was, how some of our consultants and engineers didn't have kids yet. We think how many birthdays have gone by as we're designing and going into construction. And we even think of the changes in the industry. You mentioned technology earlier. That house originally had planned a very traditional wood-paneled library. Our client, a developer, thought of using that room as a greeting room for clients to sign documents, and then we designed it that way. Within a few years came a new invention called the iPad, and it was brand new. And our client realized his entire company could be on this one device, and he didn't need a room called the library anymore, that the idea of documents and books and paper trail and signatures wasn't necessary. So we changed the entire design and turned it into a very attractive bar and social space, instead of making it the traditional English walnut paneled library.
I'm sure he still does many deals there.
I believe he still does. It's now just done with iPhones and iPads and a glass of champagne.
So where can people find you?
My website is www.poondesign.com. That's P-O-O-N design.com. You'll find a diversity of our work. My Instagram is Anthony Poon Design. Those are 2 good places to start. And you could find us just Google, Facebook, we're pretty much everywhere. Our office was in this area in Beverly Hills for 10 years. We're now located in West Culver City.
And I always like to end off with this. Anthony, what are you most excited about right now? It could be work or personal.
Most excited right now, I think, is the opportunity to build my own dream house. I've bought homes, I've remodeled them, I've renovated them, but I'm now embarking on buying an empty piece of land, starting from scratch, and from all the hundreds of homes that I've done over the years, taking the best of those ideas and tweaking it and making it my own little dream house somewhere on the west side. That's something I'm very excited to get into.
Well, we're excited to see that too.
Thank you.
Anthony, thank you for being with us.
Natasha, thank you very much.
And thank you for watching the LA Home Show, where we discuss all things real estate, interior design, and much, much more.
Yay.
Cut stream, cut recording.